Happy Mamas. So this week is my book review. I can speak, and it's on a book that I really enjoyed. I'm not gonna lie, it was a little long in some spots, but we'll go over that. So it's called Transforming the Difficult Child, Shifting the Intense Child to New Patterns of Success, Strengthening All Children on the Inside. And it's really good because it helps to kind of bring around the idea and the perspective of the fact that these kids are still learning, and these kids are still trying to do the right thing. They just don't know how. And so it's our jobs as parents to help them to understand what they're seeing and what they're feeling, and seeing that they're valued. Because a lot of times, especially if they're a difficult child, which means they usually have ADHD, or they have labels is what they call it, and that's fine. But I really liked it because it gave, first of all, it outlined what behaviors they consider difficult, and what to expect from those children, and then it gave you the steps on what to do. So you start off with what's something called active recognition or Kodak moments, and Kodak moments are like saying, let's read one of theirs because theirs is a lot better than mine, I'm not gonna lie. Here we go. I noticed that you're working hard on your drawing. It looks like a fancy car with green stripes and a red top. So you're essentially just describing what they're doing at the moment. You're not doing anything else besides just describing what they're doing at the moment. And then you build on from there. The next thing you do is positive recognition. Nope, I lied. That's step 3. The second step is experimental recognition. That's right. So this is what they call, sorry, I have a little helper down here. Where is it? They call it something else, like a snapshot kind of thing. Anyways, but it essentially, it's a Polaroid. There we go. It's called a Polaroid moment. And with this, you say something like, I see that you are very intent and focused, and that you are using a lot of concentration. I really like those qualities that I am seeing in you, and the effort you are making. So to me, the first one just validates their being seen. And especially as a difficult child, they need to have more positive moments of being seen, instead of being like, stop doing that, stop talking. And like, let's be honest, if they're a difficult child, you're going to constantly be harping on them, right? So instead of constantly harping on them, you're pointing out all the good things they're doing. So you're saying, I see you, I validate your existence, I know that you're there, and I appreciate you and love you. And so the second one, I value you, essentially, with the first one, I see you. And then the second one, you're saying that you see them, so you value them, and then you're also, sorry, I'm making sure I'm saying this correctly because I got it twisted around whenever I was explaining it to a friend the other day. But I see you, and that you appreciate these good qualities. So you're recognizing the qualities you admire or you like in the child, and you're building on that, right? Yes. Sorry. So you're saying, I see you, I value you, I like those qualities that you're doing. And then proactive recognition is actually my favorite, and I kind of just jumped to this automatically because I feel like this is going to be the most effective, and I feel like it has been the most effective for my children. I've been slowly doing this over the last month, and I really feel that it's been super helpful for my children to see that it's not just negative things, and that even though they're doing negative things, which is the next part that I'm going to talk to you about, the proactive recognition, it's talking about essentially stopping the child's actions before they go further, so you don't have to worry about consequences. So you're saying stuff like, Brandon, I appreciate that Brandon, I appreciate that you have not used foul language all morning long. Thank you for following the rules. So 1, you're saying, I value you because I see that you've done the right thing. 2, you're saying, I acknowledge your existence, and I see these characteristics in you, and I really love that, and I'm proud of you, and so I value that as well. And then 3, you're saying that you're building on the positivity of it. So if they're already angry and they're about to blow up, then all you have to do is say something like, where is it? There's one of them in here. Oh, here we go. Frankie, I like how you're using your power to control your strong feelings. You did not take your frustration out by breaking anything and hitting anybody. Your power and control are great qualities that I appreciate in you. And I love that. I love, love, love it, because there's so many times where I don't catch my children doing the positive things, and so I'm able to catch them right before they do the negative thing. And before they blow up, before they yell, before they hit, I'm able to be like, I value this. I love that you're doing this. I love that you're having self-control. My other favorite thing is that I've been doing lately, or that I've been using lately, is that I see that you're angry, that you don't want to do your chore, because my kids hate doing chores, let's be honest. I see that you're angry and don't want to do your chores, and I appreciate the fact that you got up and did them anyways, even though you're angry and you don't want to do them. I only had to ask you once, and I value that, and I love that in you. That makes me so proud of you to do that, to see that, and to have that. And so I've noticed as I've been doing that my kids have actually been acting a lot better, and they have not been trying to manipulate the situation to get the negative attention. And so it's no longer I'm disciplining them. I am saying, hey, this is the positive thing you're doing. This isn't a negative thing. And I've noticed also that my kids have stopped saying mean things about themselves, about each other. They're less likely to call each other names, and they're less likely to fight, really. Like, and they fight some more. They still fight. I'm not lying about that. I'm not gonna lie, but it's not as often. And I've noticed that they're a lot happier in general, and they tend to be a lot more understanding of each other and of. Sorry, she's talking to herself, apparently. I don't know. And they tend to be a lot more understanding of our family and our family situation. And I like that. I like that a lot. So then it goes into consequences. And everything after this, I'm just going to forewarn you, I kind of skimmed through because, like, I homeschool my kids. So I don't have to worry about my kids at school. And I don't have to worry about, you know what I'm saying? I don't have to use or utilize teachers in this, but I do love and I do value a lot of that, and I love the fact that it's in there because that way you can work with the teachers as well, and then pulling it all together just basically talks about how to make it all cohesive and make it all something that you can use. I really, really loved how it was laid out. I don't really like, this is what I was going to say. So I don't really like, one thing I really wasn't a fan of was the fact that in some sections, like consequences, or like I'm about to get to, or the very beginning of the book where it's talking about like the different children, I just feel like it was too wordy. And I was like with the stages, I was able to follow it pretty quickly, and I was able to read it pretty quickly, and I was able to to utilize what was being said so quickly. It was so nice. But then when it got to like the very beginning and getting through the first chapter, I'm not gonna lie, it was super painful. Like my husband was like, just keep reading, it's gonna get better. Just keep reading. And I'm like, it was really difficult, y'all. And so when I got to consequences and it did the same thing, I was like, oh my heck, this is so hard. And so just remember that it does get easier. Push through those because what their techniques are really, really good, and they're really helpful. But the consequence I love, it's actually not even a consequence. You are giving your energy as a reward, essentially is what the book is saying. And so whether it's positive or negative is up to you. You get to choose. You get to have that opportunity. So instead of giving consequences, you're going to give them time-ins. Or instead of time-outs, you're giving time-ins. And time-ins are essentially where you are making positive energy from negative energy. Another thing that I really like that I've actually, I'm sorry, let me read this from the book. So time in is the time when the child feels like he is in the game, being recognized and appreciated for success and steps towards success. During time in, the child receives psychologically and emotionally nutritious comments that he comes to interpret as evidence that he is valued, meaningful, and held in esteem. He is where he wants to be, acquiring inner wealth, confidence, and faith in his own abilities and strengths. And I really, really love that because my thing is with my kids is that I want to build them to be strong people in the long run. And so for me, this is amazing. And it was so worth it. And so helping them to feel like they're successful and valued is more important to me. Is more important to me than disciplining them all the time. I would much rather have them feel like they are worth it and they can do this. And I want to help them to feel value and see the value in their characteristics that are really good. They also give a credit system. They, give out a point system, and I thought that was kind of cool. And you give out, oh my heck, I'm sorry, I forgot what they give out. But anyways, so you give out stuff for that, and then, or you get the point system. It's really, really cool. Also, another thing is that I started doing because of this book is, sorry, we're gonna walk with me. My husband took out my table. So, watch out. So, you're welcome. That was my husband's mess that he's cleaning up. I created this list. So, instead of making positive rules, we're making negative rules. You have to make it a negative so that they know, like it's a video game, right? In video games, you cannot do this because the consequence is this, right? Or you just won't go any further, right? You just don't get to go. You have to go back, essentially. And so I made my top 11, I'm sure there's more, list of rules that I want to, I wanted to put in a negative way. That sounds wrong, but I know it's right, so it's all good. But I put it down in all no's. So no lying, no whining, no stealing, no fighting, no hitting, no biting, all that jazz. And when I did that, I noticed that my kids have actually been a lot more. They've noticed more of what they're not supposed to do. They've noticed more of like how to be nicer a lot of times, because now the rule is set. There's no this, because with this comes this. There's a consequence to it. Whether it's you just don't go forward, whether it's you go backwards a little bit, it doesn't matter. There's a consequence to the choices, and the rules are set in stone. And I love that. And so I'm excited to continue to implement these things that I've learned, and I hope you guys got some value out of this. Read the book; it's so good, but it's a little long in little places, so be forewarned. But yeah, good luck, fight the good fight, and I hope you all have a good week.